Hi, and welcome back to the Growing as a Family podcast. My name is Joel.
And I'm Clarice.
And today we are on the topic of unspoken rules in our marriage.
Yeah, I feel like we just kind of came up with this topic on our own.
We did. And it's not really unspoken. I feel like they were spoken, but it's just kind of like things that we didn't have to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't have to talk like at length about these things. They're just kind of
something that was just we didn't have to say anything too much about it.
It was like easily agreed upon things in our marriage. So there was no arguing over these things.
I would even say we never disagreed about any of these topics.
Mm-mm.
I feel like we both were just kind of on the same page and we went with it. And I mean, we definitely talked about it. So with the title being Unspoken Rules, we definitely did talk about it in the things that we're going to share. We went to great lengths talking about them in conversations, I think.
Yeah. But
you sounded hesitant. Did we not talk about them?
I mean, it's called like Unspoken.
Sure.
So I don't think we talked at like great lengths. Whatever.
Forgive me.
Whatever. These are very spoken about.
Get out of here. Okay.
But we did want to preface by saying, like,
yes, we did.
If you
here's the preface.
Yeah, the preface is that these are things that we didn't really have to talk at length.
That's all I can think about is talking at length. We definitely did. We talked about it, but maybe not to great length.
Yeah.
But we encourage people that we are speaking to
that's what I was getting.
to talk about these things and to have that conversation with your significant other, your spouse.
Yeah.
Because I think it is really important that you talk about these things that we're going to cover here in a minute.
Yeah.
And just because Clarice and I necessarily didn't talk about them too much doesn't mean that you shouldn't have to talk about them. I think you should, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. What I was getting at is they're important topics. So.
They
and
are.
if these are just things that work for us. So they're not the ideal way. They're not the only Christian way to do
right.
to do things in your marriage. There's different things that work for different people. So, but this is what we've agreed upon in our marriage without having to really
talk about it.
Talk much about it. So,
I think
you want to say the first one?
Sure. Well, I mean, the first topic that we kind of have is divorce. And the reason we put it first is because it's a big thing in today's culture and in marriages. And a thing that we agreed quickly upon was that we're not ever going to get divorced. Like, that's out of the question. And I would say it went back all the way to dating.
Yeah, when we were dating, neither one of us ever said anything about, I'm thinking about breaking up with you, or if you do this, I might break up with you. Yeah. Like, we never threatened our relationship, and so that just carried on into marriage, where even in our arguments, we never threaten the institution of our marriage. We're together no matter how big the argument, and it's never big enough to involve the discussion of separating.
Right. Well, and it's even like we haven't been married for a long time, but that this is something we're going to continue to withhold or to hold up, and we're not going to ever change our view on this. And I think we agreed upon that very early and kind of said, like, we're not going to break up. We're not going to divorce. Like, it's out of the question. And I think my older brother and sister-in-law, they came up with that too. Like, divorce has never been an option. Like, let's not even bring it on the table. And I really liked that too. It was kind of already in my head, and I'm sure in yours too. But I just liked how they put it.
Yeah, I chose you, I can never imagine.
Right.
Not wanting to be with you anymore, even if I don't like you for something.
Right. We're going to work on it. And I mean, going to, marital therapy or something, we're going to take measures before we jump to conclusions.
Jump ship.
Yeah, jump ship. So
yeah. I feel like, like we were talking about, like that, like builds us up instead of tears us down.
Yeah.
You know, if you bring up divorce, I feel like that really, you know, puts like a blow on the other person. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
wow, you don't even want to be with me anymore. You know, they're really harsh words. It's kind of like if you say, I hate you, you know, you can't take that stuff back. And I feel like, yeah, talking about divorce is just tearing down your marriage. And
yeah. Well, and divorce is the only outcome of that, or even talking about it, is giving the other person the thought of, well, they don't want to be with me anymore. Like, they want to basically move away from me, and they want to not further this relationship anymore. And so, like, even just talking about and joking about it, like, we won't do that, and I think we never have. It's just something that, you know, is held very highly between Clarice and I.
That we, you know, we fight with purpose. We don't
Yep.
fight just to tear each other down.
Yep.
And so we're always thinking about building each other up and growing closer together. So.
And I will admit, I'm not perfect when we are disagreeing on something.
Nobody is.
We're, like, I'm not always smiling and happy with Clarice, but we get through it, and we're not talking about just immediately giving up. We're working towards something, and then at the end of the argument, we'll come together and we'll grow actually from the encounter that we had with each other. And I think that builds us up as a team. You know, we become more one and not pulled apart.
Yeah. Divorce, not an option.
Nope. I think another one we talked about, or didn't talk about, if you will, is our marital roles. Like what you're going to do, what I'm going to do.
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, I thought, I mean, these all stem from way back in dating and like even the way we were brought up and stuff. But with the roles, like who I was looking for was like a man that would provide and like, you know, he knew how to work with his hands, do more of like the dirty, hard work around the house. You know, more of like the outdoor laborious work.
Yep.
And just, you know, be my like protector and so.
And you were looking for that in a spouse before even meeting me.
Yeah. So, and that comes from like even looking at my dad, you know, the type of like hardworking like man he was and the things that he did around our house, you know. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of, you know, I want someone like that type of man. And you were looking for, well, what were you looking for?
I mean, honestly, someone kind of like my mom, just super hardworking, just willing to get things done, likes to be orderly, knows how to take care of a house. And I think definitely before we got married, I knew Clarice wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew she wanted to like take care of the house and not work the rest of her life, which it was really attractive to me. And so falling into that marriage role for her was super easy. And it was super easy for me to give that to her because that's what I wanted. And
yeah, you wanted someone to take care of the stuff that you couldn't. We always joke about that we could never trade roles. No. Like, I can never picture, you know, Joel being like, here's the roast I made. And me coming home in, like, his blue-collar work pants or something. We wouldn't survive in each other's
I would
roles.
not survive.
But we thrive in the roles that we have, you know?
Find me in an apron one day at home. No, I couldn't.
Maybe one day. No.
I'm glad God made it that way. You know?
Yeah, and we both like enjoy what we do. So there's no arguing about that. I'm not like, I don't want to cook, you know, because I enjoy cooking. And, you know, I naturally do stuff like laundry and cleaning and cooking and, you know, watching our daughter the whole day. But I like those things, you know, and I feel like I've improved upon them in this time that we've been married. And I think you like going to work. So
I do. I could never be home as much as you are. I'm such like a get it done. And I know that our daughter sometimes just needs a little patience, and I sometimes don't have that. So
she tries all of our patience.
I will say though that like we did talk about it for a while because you were like, I don't want to like take out the garbage. I don't really want to touch the garbage. To you, that's just like not what you wanted to do. And in having that conversation, I was fine with taking out the garbage. So that's just what I do now. I keep an eye on the kitchen garbage or the garbage is in the house. And sometimes Clarice will like put stuff in a bag and tie it up and put it by the door. But like,
I don't want to take it out there to that fly infested garbage.
Yep.
That was just something, you know, we just decided upon in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're both easygoing in that. I feel like.
And I feel like we expressed our desires of what we wanted to do and what we didn't want to do kind of early on too. Just like, hey, I would like you to stay home and be with our children, and I would like to go to work.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I love it. Like, and you supported me and I supported you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like it's worth noting, like, we step into each other's roles when the other one's like sick or unable. I mean, I don't go get a job. But, we both.
Why not? Come on.
If I hit. But, like, we'll both wash the dishes or, we help each other cook dinner usually, set the table. Like, it's not completely divided,
Yeah. Like, I'm not just saying like, oh, Clarice loves cooking, therefore I never cook a day in my life. No, I help her cook. I'll get the pots going and stuff and I'll stir things. I just won't necessarily
always, he won't season it, okay?
I won't make it the best, and I definitely either over season or under season or burn or whatever, except the grill. I can do the grill.
Yeah, Joel grills, which I feel like is a marital role.
It is a marital role. The guy has to work the grill.
I feel like that's just...
Isn't that in the Bible somewhere? No.
The man shall grill.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, that's enough about that one.
Yeah, step into your roles, talk about them.
Yeah.
Support the other person.
Our next one was saving money. We never argued about... I mean, we've argued about money and, we've had our moments where I'll feel, like, insecure in finances for some reason. But for the most part, like, we don't fight about how much each other spends. Like, we both have a big saver mindset.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, super thrifty. So everything I'm like, can I get it secondhand? Can I get a better deal somewhere else? Like, I don't just buy new.
Yeah.
First thought, I'm not taking all my trips to Target 3 times a week. Or, even like, we don't eat out much. We don't like frivolously spend money.
Right,
like
We're
I want to
smart
honor
with our money.
Yeah, I want to honor like what Joel's made and like steward it well because he works hard for the money we have, and I don't want to burn that money. I want to use it like well.
And I would say when you get married, it doesn't become your finances or it doesn't become my finances anymore. It becomes our finances. And I think that was a huge thing that we talked about was, hey, like, what are we going to do with this money? Like, we're getting married. We're combining bank accounts. And we just said, well, let's just talk about our purchases then. Like, if I want to go and purchase this thing online, like, I'm not just going to be like, well, it's my money now. No. We talk about it. Hey, is this something that's needed? And, sometimes it's like a 2-minute conversation and sometimes it's like 10. But I think it's really important that you talk about finances just on a regular basis. I think we even talked about it yesterday because we were consulting each other about buying a purchase. So, and we just, we're open about it and we're not like, hide it from each other.
And you have to, you gotta consult me because I know where all the coupons are.
That's true. And I think it's really easy with you. I will say that because you're like a super saver, if you will. And you try and thrift it and garage sale it and marketplace it.
Yeah, or like in the kitchen. I'll make it myself.
Well, and going back to our first podcast, actually, 20 Facts About Us. our entire house is thrifted, and that's because of Clarice. We wanted to save money because we, had to use some money for the necessary renovations. And
yeah, because you have to get some stuff new,
you do.
And I mean, our mattress was new,
Yes.
like we're not, our towels are new, okay, we're not disgusting.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I should clarify.
Yeah.
Almost any furniture thing is thrifted.
Or it's gifted, like for our wedding and stuff. Yeah. But, and like shout out to my thrifty mom too. She helped me find a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Indeed.
But
our entire kitchen.
Yeah. Finances can be a big thing in a lot of people's marriages.
Yeah.
That's like one of the big reasons for divorce, I think. I think money is the biggest reason.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, if you look up the facts. But, yeah. I don't have much advice on, like, how to get on the same track with finances. But for us, like, it's just something that, we take care of together. We steward well.
Yeah.
And we live below our means, okay?
Yeah.
Live below your means, folks.
Yeah. It makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
And if you're walking through it with the other person, it's easier to tackle things. You're not as stressed out. And I think it's just a bonding thing for the both of you to converse about money and, hey, are we saving? Are we spending? Are we in debt? What's happening?
Make a budget. We're not very good at that. We don't follow like a strict budget, but we haven't needed to.
Right. I think we have a budget floating around somewhere in our house.
Yeah. It's more like to reference like where we spend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is a big one for me. It can be for Clarice as well, but I think for men, no friends of the opposite sex. This is something that we talked about early on of like, hey, we're starting a life together. Like, what does this mean? It means to be faithful to your spouse. And I personally think that if you have friends that are of the other gender, that it's just not good. It's setting yourself up for failure. And it doesn't make Clarice feel safe. If I'm going to hang out with my friend who's my age and a woman, it doesn't make her feel very good that I'm going and doing that for a couple hours.
I feel like, to me, that sounds so foreign. Like, even talking about it is like, what a weird situation to like try and think about, because we've never, I mean, our discussion about that never was like, hey, you gotta drop your girlfriends and I gotta drop my guy friends. We just already had none because we were each other's best friend. We wanted to hang out with each other. I had like my sister and my other girl friends, but there was no guy that I wanted to hang out with one-on-one, besides this guy.
And that's the same for me too. Like, why would I ditch my soon-to-be wife and now wife, like, for another girl? Like, why would I want to just sit down and talk either good or bad about my wife when I could do that with my wife? Like,
Talk bad about me.
Yeah. Honey, you're doing amazingly awesome. But it's even like getting your cup, if you will, your love tanker filled by another person that's not your spouse. I think that's just like a recipe for disaster. There's a few books that we've read together, marital books, that's talked highly against having friends of the opposite gender. And I know that not everyone gets the luxury that I do. I only work with men because I work in the trades. I get that some people do work with the opposite sex, but guard yourself against it. Like, don't be friends with them. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, you can be like cordial without being like buddy.
Yeah, you can be professional.
Yeah, I feel like that goes a long way. Like, we have friends who are couples also. So some of the guys I'd be like, oh yeah, he's my friend, but not in the sense that I would hang out with him without his wife, you know?
Right.
Like, we're friends together and then I'm friends with his wife.
Right.
And I mean, hang out with another guy that wouldn't, benefit me in any way.
And I feel like even too, like, the only way that we would really hang out one-on-one would be, like, yeah, hanging out with another married couple. Mm-hmm. But that's, like, I feel like that's a little bit of a different story because you know that they're also, like, in a relationship. And so it's
completely
it's
different.
completely, like, professional, I guess, if you wanted to say, too. And,
yeah. You're just hanging out.
Yeah.
But I think that your husband and, me as your wife should always be around.
Yep.
For
sure.
When you're hanging out with someone of the opposite gender.
Yeah. A big thing I was raised on, coming from a family of all boys, was my mom always said, like, no one-on-one with a girl. And I think that kind of set me up really well because it didn't compromise my integrity with women. And it was like, hey, don't drive one-on-one with a girl. Like, as funny as that sounds, I mean, I love it now because a lot of people speculate and it just gets very, like, dicey when you're like, oh, you guys were, like, driving for an hour and a half together in a car. What happened? It's like, no, just make a point, and if it's got to be a little bit longer, drive with guys if you can,
Mm-hmm. What age was that until?
I would say, like, maybe, like, 14 to, like, 18.
Oh, that's when you weren't allowed?
Well, that's when, like, I was really guarded against it, I guess. Right when I started driving, it was like, hey, don't, unless it's for, like, a date. And even then, I mean, one of our first dates that we went on was with my brother. So.
Oh, that's true.
But it's all just because, it's setting you up for marriage eventually and being completely pure for your wife. And,
I feel like guys are more susceptible to.
Very much so.
The pull of women.
And the enticement of them.
Yeah.
So guard yourself, and the best way to do that is to not have friends of the opposite gender.
Our last one that we talked about was going to bed at the same time. It's like a little unspoken rule in our marriage. We started doing that, and I don't think we've ever gone to bed at a different time. Always slept in the same bed unless, like, we're deathly sick or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's something that, like, promotes unity with each other and oneness. I think it shows that you care about them, and I care about your schedule. So if you want to go to bed now, like, hey, I'm going to get ready for bed with you. I'm not just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to sit here and do my own thing for another hour while you're sleeping. No, it's very much like your schedule is my schedule. We're together on this. So if you plan to go to bed, then I plan to as well.
Yeah. It's like showing consideration for the other person. And it makes me feel, like, wanted. Like, you want to like, start your day and, like, end your day with me type thing. Like,
I do.
Joel would always kiss me, good morning, tell me bye before work. You don't always now, because when I'm sleeping, it's like, oh, I better let her sleep.
Yes.
We got that baby.
We do.
Baby life. But it's, that always, made me feel really cherished. And then we'd always go to bed together. It wasn't like we were living two separate scheduled lives.
Right.
And, I mean, sometimes that looks different, if people have differing, like, if you're both working as a married couple, those overnight shifts or the late shifts or, you just need to catch up more on some sleep if you gotta wake up at, like, 3 a.m. or something. But for us, it's just something we've always done and plan on continuing to do.
I feel like you get to wind down together as well and, like, talk about, like, the day or the week that happened or something funny that was going on. I really liked it when we put our daughter out of our room and we just got to, like, stay up and talk. And I think the first night that we did it, we stayed up till, like, 11:30, which we usually go to bed at, like, 10. And we were just, like, talking, having fun. And
it was like we were, like, young. Like, I mean, we are still young, but it was like sleepover. But it was just so nice to, like, connect with you in the littlest ways and talk and we'll always, like, joke when we lay down or something, or tickle each other or smack each other with a pillow or something. Joel likes this funny thing of stealing my pillow out from under me. So we
have a lot of fun together.
Yeah, we love that.
So, but if you didn't go to bed at the same time,
you'd miss out on that.
I'd have to like sneak in, or Clarice would have to sneak in. And then like she may not be able to fall asleep because I'm snoring or something like that, or like I can't fall asleep because
I'm too pretty.
Yep. Because Clarice is too pretty. Yeah. I feel like it has grown us a lot, just pouring time into each other.
Yeah, those little things, they really matter.
They do. Yeah.
But, yeah, all of these were our unspoken, kind of spoken rules in our marriage. They were all, like, we didn't argue about them.
No.
We didn't, try to come against the other person and say, no, I don't agree with this.
Right.
It was very much like, yes, I'm on the same page.
Yep.
We see eye to eye. And, yeah, they've really strengthened our marriage.
They have. I even feel like, too, we've grown by talking about them more. Like, I knew I never wanted to get divorced, but now it's like talking about it with her. I'm like, hey, we're never going to get divorced. We're like, hey, yeah, it'd be fun to go to bed with you, but like now we're doing it. It's just something that we do now consecutively, which is super cool. So, yeah. Well, if you liked our podcast and you have any comments, just let us know down below. Or if you're listening on Spotify, just let us know there too. Our website is growingasafamily.com if you want to check us out. Thanks for watching the Growing as a Family podcast. See you next time.
Bye.